Thanks everyone. So mine's probably a little less interesting than the past couple, but I'm just going to run through today basically why we needed the migration to Helical, a recap of the regional workshops, some of the launch dates coming up around Helical or that have just been, and then the new updated and some upcoming functions such as the public database, sale catalogues, mating planner and MateSel, and the potential of having artificial intelligence built into Helical as well. So we've covered a lot about the migration to Helical during the regional workshops. So this is a bit of a recap, particularly for anyone that didn't attend those. So Helical is incredibly versatile and customizable, which is fantastic because we can customize this to suit AWA and industry needs. So having that database that was flexible and able to be continuously developed is vital for the ever-evolving needs of the Wagyu industry. It's also now a centralised platform. We did know it as the one-stop DNA shop, but from now on it will be the one-stop shop for all data. So having a versatile and centralised platform also means that we now have the ability to create and support many more genetic selection tools in the future, as well as improve current tools and data recording methods, as you've heard from Matthias and Hassan. It has easy to read and view data, which makes the interpretation a lot easier. As you'll see in some of the slides we're going to go through next, and as we went through at the regional workshops, there's multiple ways to view the data and also a lot of snapshots across your herds that will help with easier decision making as well. Lastly, the sky is the limit in regards to functionality within Helical, so we'll be continuing to work on and develop the systems as we move through the coming months and years. We're incredibly lucky that it is so versatile compared to limitations that we had in the previous systems that we've been using. So we ran 4 Australian-based workshops and 2 international webinars over July to September this year, with roughly 300 members attending across the workshops and webinars. So the main purpose for us to do these workshops was to be able to walk through the database as it currently was with the members and give everyone some help as to where things were, how it was going to work. But it was also incredibly important for us to get the member feedback at that point as we were developing things more. So we received some really good feedback from members, some good quality feedback, and we've had some great discussions with members at these sessions about some of the future developments or what they would like to see. I would like to highlight that with a lot of feedback, you might not see all of that feedback going live yet. We are working through it all. There's a lot in the pipeline that should be rolling out in the next few weeks. But if it doesn't roll out, please don't think it's not on our agenda. It's just there may be some little complications in the background that we need to work through first. So if you did miss the workshops and would like to watch, we did record Tamworth's workshop and it is available online. I'll also be around with a number of the other staff members from AWA today, so if you do have any queries or you're unsure how to work part of the new Helical database, or if you do have feedback, please come and see us and we can have a look with you and get that added into the pipeline. So also with the rollout of Helical, a lot of members had already been using this. So the DNA test request function has been live for approximately 12 to 18 months. So a lot of you will have already had interaction with that. We've also had the transfers and disposals modules open for roughly 6 months as well. So as many of you will have seen, the public database for Helical is now live and has replaced the links to the old I4 database. We will walk through that in the coming slides, and there was a few big rollouts that went out at about 9:30 this morning, which changed a lot of what I was going to talk about. But there will be more changes coming out over the next weeks, and you'll see a few tweaks, and it will look quite different. Lastly, we would really strongly recommend everyone jumps on and has a play. Please don't think you're going to break things. If you accidentally submit a request or submit a transfer that you didn't mean to, just give us a call or flick us an email and we can get rid of it. It's not a problem. But the more you go in and familiarize yourself with it, the easier it will get. So 1st of December was what we had marked as turning off all legacy systems. So that was the old registration databases, the Wagyu portal where you would have been getting your breed plan reports from. Keeping in mind with previous announcements, we will be moving this date to align with the release of Wagyu EBVs. We'll still be using breed plan in that interim, so we will still keep some of those systems open because we need that data to be able to go into breed plan. Okay, so public database is now live. So as I mentioned, there were a few big changes that were released this morning. There's a few tweaks that need to go in there, so if anyone is looking at it, we are aware there's a couple of bits and pieces that we still need to change. So you will see a few changes in here over the next few days and the coming weeks. So on the screen, we've just got a bit of an example of what it looks like as an overview. We'll walk through it a little bit more in depth, particularly the animal details section and the EBVs. But to highlight some of the future implementations that we're working on with Helical and the design teams currently is to have an easy view and download button for a social media friendly style snapshot of the animal. We have seen the mock-up for what it's going to look like, and it's pretty cool. I know a lot of people are putting information up on Facebook or other socials, so having something that fits nicely on that screen is going to be really helpful. Easier to view and navigate displays with less dead space and some more summarised data. That was a partial release this morning, so we are continuing to work on that, particularly with some of the feedback we've had from members, so please don't hesitate to pass on feedback if there's things that you would like to see in there. And we will cover this further, but the potential for artificial intelligence assistance to be able to make summaries and help summarise data on a page for you. Okay, so within the public database, and this is something that I will cover a bit more than any of the other topics because it is quite new and we know a lot of people are using it. It does have similar functions in regards to searches to the old public database system, but we do have some new features in there as well. So your animal details search, again, it's very similar fields available to what was on the old public system. You can also search by animal EBVs. Again, similar to what was on the old system. You'll see there's a little filter EBVs box outlined in red. It's a little drop down. You can drop that down. You can put in minimum and maximum parameters, or you can also search by a rank. So you can set your own rank percentage, or you can pick top 10%, top 20%. I'll go through a video that'll demonstrate that when we look at how to save a search on the next slide. So we can also search by EBV accuracy. Again, the little drop down, pretty similar to, I think we had this in the old one as well. And then the last section is filtering by genetic conditions and other additional testing. So filtering on free animals for a particular genetic condition, or perhaps looking for your homozygous polled animals. That's all possible in here as well. So it is important to note, I know they look like they're in separate sections. You can combine all of those, so that will show in the video as well, but you can select to only look at bulls with EBV parameters of whatever it is you're looking for, and then perhaps something that's free for B3. So you can combine all of that into one search. So the new function we have in here is that you can save a search. So I know this was possible in your Wagyu portal when you were doing EBV filters within your own herd, but this is now something we can do on the public database, particularly for a search that you might be doing commonly. So I'll quickly walk through a little video of how this works. It's a good little overview of how all of the search filter works. So you can see we can select bulls only, and then we've dropped down that filter EBV menu. So for example, we've applied 5% carcass weight, so that's top 5%, and then those little buttons, top 10 and top 20, you'll see they populated, it's going a bit quick, but it populates your parameters for you. So once you've brought up those results, you can click save, name it whatever you would like to name it. Typing a bit slow. And save, and you'll see that it pops up as a quick link there. So when you go back into the public database next time, if that's the search you want to do, you can click on that link again. Okay, so the animal display section, at the top of the page, as you can see highlighted, outlined in red there, that's your animal details. This was where there was a big release this morning, so we had to update a few slides here. So what we've got, I'll just zoom in if it's going to work. Okay, so part of the big things that we were working on in this area was to include genetic condition results in that summary rather than having to go to a separate tab. That was some of the feedback. Members didn't like to have to flick between tabs. We wanted to have all of that data viewed, completely understand that. So now we can see genetic conditions or probabilities. We've got a pedigree up there, and you'll see we've got a nice little EBV radar graph that I'll go into a little bit more detail as well. We are still working on this area to make font size a little bit bigger, a few things like that. Again, to add sort of easy download buttons. And I would expect that this will probably change again in the next day or so, and will continue to change as we implement things. So we would love to hear feedback from you guys over the next couple of weeks on how this is working for you, and if we're on the right track to getting it where you want it to be. Sorry, this was one that we jumped in because this wasn't viewable on public database until 9:30 this morning. So this is the radar graph. So basically what it does is it just shows the ranks of the animals in this nice little graph, and then you also have percentile ranks for the indexes on the side. I won't go into too much. It's pretty reasonably self-explanatory. I think it's quite a nice visual to have on that top bit, give you a really quick overview. So the second part of this main animal details page, and probably one of the important parts for most members, is the EBVs. So you can see down the bottom here, there is a lot of different displays for the EBVs. We'll quickly flick through those. So the first one, as we've got outlined in red here, is the tabular display. It's probably the more traditional that you would have seen similar to this on the old public database. So in here, your default display is this horizontal for the tabular, but you'll notice there when outlined in red, we've got horizontal. There's a button next to it that says vertical, and there's one that says none. So you can toggle between these to get different displays. Everyone interprets things and reads things differently. And if you don't like it at all, there is a none button, so you can get rid of it altogether. The other thing that we can do in here is that you can hide traits. So if you're only wanting to look at a handful of traits, you're not wanting to view all of them, we can click on this little showing all traits drop down, and it'll bring up all the traits. All you need to do is untick the ones that you don't want to see, and that will be reflected in all the EBV graphs that are shown in this section. So the second graph here is the percentile rank graph. So it's pretty much similar concept to, in the past you would have seen a similar graph on the old public database. I think this one's a little bit it's nicer grouped. You can see colours indicate what sort of groups those EBVs are in, or indexes. You can also download this graph. So if there's something that you're wanting to use in catalogues, that kind of stuff, it is downloadable as an image as well. So the last one that we'll go through here is the possible change graph. So again, it's very similar to what you would have seen in the past. And I won't go into it in detail, but similar to the other one, you can download that as an image as well. So within the public database, we've also got sale catalogues that are now live. It's pretty exciting. It's a really nice display compared to what we had. So for members using the public catalogue system, we can now add logos in. So it's really easy to see whose sale it is. I think it makes it really, as you can see outlined there, that's the Progeny Test Program. You can quite clearly see that's AWA's logo. I think that's a great function that has been added in there. So we can also really easily see what's in a catalogue. We're not splitting into semen and embryo catalogues in one tab and then live sales in another. All the catalogues are in one spot. You've got tags on them to indicate what's in that catalogue. So we can have live, we can have semen, and we can have embryos, all in the one catalogue. And it'll be quite easy to see on that screen what you're looking at. So once you click into a catalogue, this is just a quick display. You'll see the animal details, lot notes and images. You can click across, there's some tabs just above the animals there where you can see the EBV tables of all of the animals in that sale catalogue, and you can also see the SAR EBV table. So that's probably something I didn't point out very well on the animal public database page, but for any animal that's listed on a sale catalogue, there'll be a big green button at the top of the animal's profile that you can click into, and it'll say for sale. Click into the link, it'll take you straight to the sale that that animal is in. So another relatively new feature within the member interface on Helical is the mating planner. So we'll walk through this a little bit in the next slide, but it is really simple to use. It has abilities to predict progeny inbreeding EBVs and indexes, simulate mating strategies, and assist in making breeding decisions. So as we've mentioned in the past as well, we are working to integrate MateSel into Helical. It is still in development, but we expect to have a release date for this early next year. Okay, so when you log into your member interface on Helical, you'll see on the screen there's a little button called Mating Planner that's highlighted in blue. When you click on that, it'll pop up with a mating planner display similar to this. I've already populated some data in here, so it will be empty. But when you click on that little load data button, it's the same function as any other area in Helical that you're loading data. So it'll come up with a little box. You'll all get very familiar with this little box. You can simply copy and paste from a spreadsheet or a list that you've got. You can load a CSV file in there, or you can go through and manually select size or dams that are in your ownership. For me, copy and paste, that's my favourite. That's my go-to for any of the data that I'm loading into Helical. It's just really simple, easy to use. If you've got multiple columns, it picks up based on headers and it assigns it to the column that it needs to. So it's pretty simple to use. You can also, so in the copy and paste, it will work if you are adding animals that are not in your ownership. Obviously, if you're selecting size and dams, it's only going to bring what's in your ownership. If you want to manually add other animals that are outside of your ownership, obviously we know that people are buying in semen, so you need to have access to that. You can also do a little search function in that box. Works the same as if you were searching for an animal on the public database. Either the exact ID, or if you're not sure of the ID, you can use that wildcard or percent search. and it will return any results that are similar to that. So once you've added your size and your dams in there, it'll bring up a little display. Again, similar to those EBVs, you can select columns that you want to show. So again, that little showing all columns drop down, you can take out what you're not interested in and view just the EBVs or traits that you want to see. You can also export to CSV. So in this function, you can take that out and go and analyze it, do what you need to do with it. You can also save it. So once you've saved that, you can go back and edit it, add more, take some out at a later date, and you'll have that saved in there. So some of the feedback that we have had on this, it has been live for a couple of weeks now, was to have a pedigree link for the animal. So we are working on that. And also how we can incorporate a genetic probability calculator of some sort in here as well. So there are some things that are sitting in the pipeline that we are exploring. I don't know when they will be released, but hopefully the pedigree one will be quite soon. And then as we're working on building genetic probability calculators within Helical, we'll be able to look at adding that function in as well. So that's me almost done. So to wrap up, I think we wanted to finish on another example of why we've moved to Helical, and that they've shown us and we've found things that we didn't even know were possible, that we could start to incorporate that will be beneficial to AWA as a team and also to the members. So on both sides, we found all sorts of things that we didn't even know was possible that has made our lives easier, and hopefully we'll be able to be implementing more things to make everyone else's lives easier as well. So one of the exciting items we are trialling is how we can incorporate artificial intelligence, or AI, into Helical and how it could be beneficial to the membership. So we have this set up in a trial phase. It's not accessible to members or the public yet, but basically it is doing an interpretation of EBVs and providing a summary of that animal. So when we click the little Ask AI button, it spits out a little summary. Basically it summarizes the index and EBVs and will give you considerations for that animal. So we also see that as opening doors, not necessarily as an EBV summary for every animal on every page, but for things like catalogues. So creating lot notes for catalogues, summarising animals in catalogues so that you can see where they might sit as to what you're looking for. The other area that we are looking at putting this sort of technology into is sort of a chat bot, where you'll be able to ask things if you aren't sure how to work something, or you need sort of a how-to fact sheet on something, can't find where it is, you'll be able to ask questions and we will have some of that built in to be able to give you some of the answers. So that's pretty much me. As I've mentioned before, we are working through the member feedback and the feedback everyone has given to us. Either things have been implemented or they are being added to the agenda for implementation. So if you do have other feedback, or if you're having issues with something in the database, please do come and see us and have a chat, or send an email or call the office. The whole MSO team have been helping a lot of members in navigating this, and there's little bits and pieces that we're finding along the way. So the more you guys contact us and come to us directly with the issues, the more we can help to resolve that and understand what the problem actually is. So my other feedback would be, if you are having issues, please try, I know sometimes it's difficult, but please do try and include a screenshot of where the problem is. Because otherwise we don't necessarily know exactly what page you're on or where you are to be able to navigate what that problem is. Or give us a call and talk through where you've gone so that we can find that as well. So there is how-to guides on the website and we are continually adding more. But yeah, if you're not sure, just give us a call. The whole team will be more than happy to help walk through anything.